organizational design and change. Organizations exist because they are more efficient at undertaking economic activities than individuals are on their own. Organizations enable the coordination of human economic activities. Mintz's work in the year 1993 argues that all organized human activity gives rise to two opposing forces. Firstly, the need to divide labor into separate tasks, and secondly, to coordinate these tasks to fulfill some objective. Organizational structure is concerned with the division of labor into specialized tasks and coordination between these tasks. According to Wilson and Rosenfeld in the year 1990, organizational structure is the established pattern of relationship between the component parts of the organization, outlining both communication, control, and authority patterns. Structure distinguishes the parts of an organization and delineates the relationship between them. The function of organizational design is to construct the right structure that matches the requirement of a strategy to be implemented. On the other hand, organizational change is supposed to alter the existing structure that have gone wrong over a period of time and no longer fit the requirements of a strategy being implemented.
After studying this module, you shall be able to
That we should know about the different types of structure used in the strategy implementation, and we must understand the concept of organizational design and change. So we are going to discuss about the types of the organizational structure. But it is very important to first of all discuss the meaning of the organizational structure. Organizational structure is the types of formats used by different structures. We have different types of organizational structure. The very first is entrepreneurial structure. A simple structure is the oldest and most common organizational form. After all, most organizations are very small and have a single product line in which the founder controls all activities and takes major decisions. In simple words, entrepreneurial structure revolves around the founder of the firm as shown in this figure. A simple structure is characterized by a high degree of informality. Activities are coordinated by direct supervision. Decision making is highly centralized and there is hardly any specialization of jobs. The performance evaluation and system of reward is also informal. There are hardly any rules and regulations. Usually, it is the owner who is actively involved in all the stages and departments of the business, and at times a manager may be appointed to supervise operations on a daily basis if the entrepreneur is unable to manage functions such as finance and marketing as the organization grows in size. The vision of the entrepreneur and flexible work patterns of staff are major strengths of this type of structure. Small firms with a simple and straightforward structure tend to encourage creativity. The lack of rigidity and rules also foster individualism. However, such an informal environment may also create many problems. Employees may not take their responsibilities seriously or may not understand them at all. This may result in unnecessary confusion and conflicts. The second type of organization structure is functional structure. Functional structure are most appropriate for firms which produce one or few related products or services, where volume of production is high and there is some vertical integration. Activities are grouped together according to functional specialism, such as finance, marketing, personnel, and research and development. The manager will be responsible for a department which comprises these functions. A functional structure promotes efficiency through the specialized division of labor. The coordination and integration of the functional areas become one of the most important responsibilities of the chief executive of the organization. The functional structure facilitates a high level of centralization with each functional manager reporting to CEO and board of directors. It ensures integration and control over all the related tasks in the value chain. The functional structure has its limitation also. As the firm grows and its range of products increases, coordination between functions becomes complicated, leading to a decline in performance. Another disadvantage is that each functional manager may begin to concentrate on their departmental goals at the cost of organizational goals. Companies such as Videocon Industries, Hindalco, Bajaj Auto, they follow such kind of organizational structure, that is functional organizational structure. The third type of organizational structure is divisional organizational structure. The organization, when growing and diversifying its activities, it requires different type of activities, it requires different type of sizes and structure, because it has different products for different markets. A more effective and efficient structure is required. Divisional structure is also called the multi-divisional structure, refers to structure that is centered on the markets, projects and products. Each division has department with their respective functional specialists as shown in the following figure. This type of structure consists of independent units centrally governed by corporate office. This decentralization of decision making is also necessary where the external environment is uncertain and turbulent. It gives managers substantial independency to respond to local market operations. A divisional structure may be organized according to product, market or geographical areas. The different divisions enjoy a fair degree of independence and deal with their respective products and services that are different from the other divisions. In such an operational structure, there is too much responsibility on the top management with regard to decision making. Therefore, it may become essential for the top management to delegate the responsibilities and decision making powers to lower level managers in order to be able to attend matters concerning the organization in the long run. General Motors was the first to adopt the divisional organizational structure. In the 1920s, the company formed 5 major product divisions, namely Cadillac, Buick, Oldsmobile, Pontiac and Chevrolet, as well as several industrial divisions. Other organizations that have adopted divisional structure include DuPont and Procter & Gamble. Since then, many organizations have discovered that as they diversify into new product market activities, functional structure with their emphasis on single functional department were unable to handle the increased complexity of the entire business. There are many advantages associated with this structure. By creating separate decisions to manage individual product market, there is a separation of strategic and operating control. Divisional managers can focus their efforts on improving operations in the product market for which they are responsible. And corporate officers can devote their time to overall strategic issues for the entire corporation. The focus on a division's product and markets by the divisional executives provide the corporation with an enhanced ability to respond quickly to important changes in the external environment. Since there are functional departments within each division of the corporation, the problems associated with sharing resources across functional departments are minimized. Under divisional structure, individuals are more likely to be aligned to the organization's objectives. In addition, the profit contribution of each division is transparent, which helps the center to make efficient resource allocation resources. A divisional structure also has potential disadvantages. Namely, it can be very expensive, that is, the duplication of functions, namely personnel, operations and investment across many different divisions as well as head office, leads to increased cost since each division must staff multiple functional departments. There can also be dysfunctional competition among divisions since each division tends to become self-centered with its own operations. Furthermore, divisional managers are often evaluated on common measures such as return on assets and sales growth, etc. Therefore, if goals are conflicting, there can be a sense of zero-sum game that would discourage sharing of ideas and resources among the divisions of the good and the betterment of the corporation. Then we have another organization structure, namely matrix organization structure. Matrix organization structure is actually a blend of the functional and divisional structure. A matrix or structure is a company structure in which the reporting relationships are set up as a grid. or matrix rather than in the traditional hierarchy as shown in the following figure. In the following figure, we have shown that on the top we have executive manager. The executive manager handles different functional managers like the functional manager A, functional manager B, functional manager C, functional manager D, and all these functional managers work under the supervision of project management office. And below this project management office we have different project managers, and below different functional managers we have employees. This organizational structure aims to simultaneously maximize the benefits from functional structure that comes from division of labor while increasing the efficiency of coordination across these functions. In a matrix structure, an individual or employee reports to both the functional manager and a product manager. Employees report to the functional manager who can help with skills and expertise and help prioritize and review work, and to product line manager who guides on product offerings by the company. In some multinational companies, the matrix structure helps bring together product groups as well as geographical units. This is required when product managers are responsible for the global development, management and distribution of their product line, and the heads of the geographical regions are responsible for the profits of their business units in their respective regions. The matrix structure is successfully used in companies such as Disney, Caterpillar Inc. and ABB. The advantage of a matrix structure is that it enables the firm to take benefit of specialized personnel, special equipment as well as facilities. Instead of duplicating functions, the resources are shared as required. Such sharing and collaboration of resources ensures efficient and effective utilization of resources. Another benefit is that a matrix structure is flexible, providing professionals with a wide range of responsibility, giving them more experience and the opportunity to develop their skill and competencies. Matrix structure also have many limitations. They are dual reporting structure, that is reporting to functional manager as well as project manager, leads to uncertainty and conflict with regard to allocation of resources. This in turn causes complicated relationship at the workplace. The next type of organization structure is network organizational structure. A network structure involves a configuration of outsourced activities that are controlled by a central hub. Network structure is useful in responding to a fast-moving and unpredictable environment such as fashion industry. In a network structure, the principal organization subcontracts or outsources many of its functions to other organizations and coordinates their activities. These activities are outsourced to separate firms. They are connected electronically to the central office. Subcontractors flow in and out of the network depending upon its changing requirement. The main organization maintains control over work processed by various subcontractors. Companies like Nike and United Colors of Benetton both outsource manufacturing activities to specialist firms, while maintaining tight control at the center over their core capabilities. We have shown that in the middle we have the main organization. This main organization is surrounded by different kinds of companies to which they outsource their activities. The network structure facilitates the core competencies of the firm to be focused at the center, while non-core activities are outsourced to specialist firms which allow for greater competencies. Network structure is also known as virtual organization, which means a temporary network between a number of firms that come together to achieve a specific venture. The main advantage of the network structure that it provides organizations the flexibility to enable them to respond quickly to changes in the marketplace. It facilitates choice of subcontractors on the basis of quality and control. But it has certain limitations also, like coordination of various activities and subcontractors becomes difficult. Further, new relationships need to be developed when subcontractors are changed. Now we are going to discuss about the organizational design and change. Strategists say that there is no best structure available anywhere. There are no good structures or bad structure. There are only structures that fit or do not fit with the requirements of a strategy. If they match, then they are the right structure. But if they do not match, then they are the wrong structure. The function of the organizational design is to construct the right structure that matches the requirements of a strategy to be implemented. On the other hand, organization change is supposed to alter the existing structure that have gone wrong over a period of time ago and no longer fit the requirements of a strategy being implemented. Organizational change is an important issue in organizations. Organizational change or strategic change is the fit between an organization's resources and capabilities and its changing competitive environment. Organizational change is the process in which an organization changes its structure, strategies, operational methods, technologies to affect change within the organization. There are four forms of change, namely planned change, unplanned change, radical change, and transformational change. We start with planned change. Planned change is a change resulting from a deliberate decision to alter the organization. Companies that wish to move from a traditional hierarchy structure to one that facilitates self-management teams that use a proactive approach. Then we have unplanned approach. Unplanned change is imposed on the organization and is often unforeseen. For example, changes in government regulations and changes in the economy are often unexplained. Then we have radical change. Radical change is the process by which firms regain competitive advantage after it has been lost. The type and extent of change undertaken depends upon the firm's resources and capabilities, its competitive environment. Then we have transformational change. This change occurs when organizations incur drastic changes and must essentially transform themselves. This can occur when an organization faces different technologies, significant changes in supply and demand, and unexpected losses, etc. Now we are going to make a summary of what we have discussed so far. We have started discussing about the organizational structure. Organizational structure is concerned with the coordination of human activity into specialized tasks. Then we have discussed the entrepreneurial structure. Simple or the entrepreneurial structure is a centralized structure in which the founder or manager takes all the major decisions and delegates the work to staff members. Then we have discussed the functional structure. Functional structure involves grouping of the task according to various functions such as sales, R&D, marketing, operations, etc. Then we have discussed the divisional structure. The divisional structure involves individual business units that encompasses their own functional specialism and have direct responsibility for their own performance. Then we have discussed the matrix organization. Matrix organization is a hybrid structure combining two complementary structures, that is functional departmentation with pure project structure. Functional structure is the main feature of matrix organization and retains authority for the overall operation of the functional units, whereas project teams are created when specific projects require a high degree of technical skill and other resources for a temporary period. Then we have discussed network structure. Network structure is a chain of cooperative relationship of the central organization with its suppliers, distributors, and other business associates. Then we have discussed the meaning of organizational change. Organizational change occurs when major sections of an organization are altered. It is defined as a change that has significant effect on the way work is performed in an organization. There are four basic forms of change, that is planned change, unplanned change, radical change, and transformational change.